Hi everyone, it's Becky here. So welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel, and in today's video this is going to be a combination of vlog and tutorial video of how I compose this page in my art journal. So I'm having a sleepover at my friend Rana's. I just arrived. I'm starting to pet Kitty Cleo. Yeah, so we're having like a mini birthday party for our friend Lara. Yeah, so we had pizza for dinner and then this cake. And then we watched the movie. Kitty Cleo is always accompanying us. Good morning, Cleo. It's so bright. It's a bright day. Yeah, so now it's about 8 in the morning. We all woke up and it's a very sunny day. We're having breakfast together. Coffee, croissant, jam, and some veggies. Yeah, so before eating, I want to just sketch my croissant and a cup of coffee. Starting with the outline, adding these wrinkles. All of these wrinkles, as you can see, are very organic curves following the three-dimensional, the round surface of the croissant. That's all the details for the croissant. Now I'm starting to draw the opening of the cup and the body, the handle of the cup. It's a very round cylinder, and the coffee line inside. The nice graphic on the outside, the lady with a cat. Add some more wrinkles, very short and loose and broken lines. And that's it for the line work. Now I'm ready to add watercolors. When I'm sketching food, I try to be as fast as I can so I can eat. Just wetting the croissant area with clear water by squeezing my water brush. And I just grab a mix of medium yellow and yellow ochre and dilute that a lot for the first layer of the croissant. And burnt sienna, dilute it. Burnt sienna mixed with a bit of orange for the second layer of the croissant. So it looks more charming and a bit three-dimensional now, and leaving little gaps from the first layer unpainted to show the shine of the pastry. A little bit more vibrant orange over here. Yeah, this croissant has a very nice vibrant orangey color and not too dark brown. Yeah, blending on some burnt sienna. So there are about like 3 different yellow, orange, and brown tones on the croissant. Yeah, that's it for that croissant. Just wetting the cup area with clear water. Just mixing in this leftover gray with ultramarine blue and royal purple. Yeah, just painting these black parts on the mug, the handle, and the lady and the kitty cat. Yeah, orange for the lady's outfit. Some more, slightly more shadow inside there. Shadows underneath the mug and the croissant. That's pretty much it. Darker around the very edges of these two objects. Yeah, that's it. Kitty Cleo is watching us eating. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna sketch Kitty Cleo watching us eating. I hope he won't really move. Hopefully he'll stay there for like at least a minute for me. Starting with his pointy ears and his face, the chin area is a bit pointy. Adding some details for the ears. Then he moved a little bit, so I had to wait for his face to come back to this right position again. Yeah, so I drew his eyes, and the nose, and the mouth line. Yeah, and I also added those tiny little stripes on his forehead and a bit of whiskers. And a little accentuation around his eyes. I think that's pretty much it for his face. And now I'm ready to connect the face with the chest area. It's a little furry, very loose, short little lines to show the fur. And waiting for him to come back to the similar position again. Drawing his little paws. I think he was like laying down a little bit. Yeah, drawing his back. It's arcing a little bit. So the lines on the kitty's body gesture is always so interesting to study. Yeah, just adding some little fur textures around his forehead area. I think that's his front paws. Yeah, he's laying down a little bit, so his body is being foreshortened and round. And just adding his tail curved around the front part of his body, and then this dark patch of spots and stripes on his back. And starting to add these little loose choppy lines for the fur texture and the sections, the stripes on his tail. Yeah, it's very cute, and that makes him look more like a little tiger. Yeah, and some more darker spots and stripes here and there. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think I captured him pretty well. It doesn't really look like him 100%, but I think I captured his gesture pretty well. And now I think he started to move around, but I'm done with him. So these things, the mat and all of the those other furniture around his body is just static. Those things don't move, so it's very easy to figure out. So the mat is like a three-dimensional rectangle. Okay, so now we're looking at that rectangle from perspective. It looks more like a trapezoid. And then the thickness of the counter and the dishwasher. It's one line there. Now I'm starting to draw the handle of the dishwasher. Yeah, so the dishwasher is half open, and I can see the inside is very dark. So I'm just using these vertical hatching lines to show the shade inside the dishwasher that give it more a 3-dimension. Some accentuation underneath Cleo's body. Yeah, now we can tell he's standing on a countertop. And behind him, there are other kitchen objects, like baskets, bottles. Yeah, there's a food basket with a handle right behind him. So just drawing that, and a few quick lines. There's potatoes or bananas inside. Add a bit of hatching lines to show the shadow there. Yeah. And I'm trying to connect some more things around, adding some accentuation around the borders of these pieces. Yeah, this is another line. On the left side, we have a cupboard. That's the pantry on the left. And above Cleo here, we have some more cupboards. And the handles. Yeah, these are so much more easy compared to drawing a live moving animal. And we can see the bottom of the cupboards. Yeah. And a lot of like division lines. And now I'm drawing these tile lines. Yeah, just a bunch of parallel lines. And this part is the left side of the sink, adding a little accentuation around the rim. And that's it for the line drawing. Okay, so now I'm ready to add watercolors. So just wetting those areas with clear water first, and then just putting on this leftover yellow-orange, very much diluted. This is the glow on these white cupboards of the bright sunshine streaming in. And just grabbing some leftover gray to paint these shaded sides of the furniture around the tile as well. Very quick and loose, and also for this gray mat. Underneath Cleo, yeah, a lot of leftover colors are used so far. That's why I never clean my palette. I can always use those leftover grays and yellows and oranges, just so I don't have to spend time mixing from scratch again. And yeah, so now I'm ready to paint Cleo's body. So just putting a little bit of leftover orange around his face, where those dark patches are. I think he had like an orange brown and with a gray overlay on his spots. Yeah, right there. Like different tones of orange, brown, and leftover grays for the patches, for the spots on his body and tail. Again, using leftover gray to add those shades around his white fur area. and leftover turquoise for his eyes, a little pink for his nose. Yeah, some more accentuation of darker browns here and there for his spots and tail. A lot of thin brush strokes around the gaps, like in between his legs and above his tail. There's like little cast shadows, and that's it for Cleo. So adding some final, slight more intense grays for the dishwasher and the bottom of the cupboard, and behind Cleo. Yeah, some final polish. I think that's pretty much it. That's the finished sketch. And Cleo is exploring around the table, smelling and touching everything. Cleo, what did you do?
He threw your paintbrush.
I'm gonna miss you, Cleo. And now it's time for us to go. It's time to say goodbye to Cleo. We're going to Old Montreal.
Riprendi un caffè.
Allora, siccome siamo in democrazia, facciamo la maggioranza.
Ma noi abbiamo letto il menu.
Yeah, so here we are on the famous St. Paul Street in Old Montreal. There's a lot of tourists on this street. This is like a world famous street in Montreal. Beautiful light and sunshine and shade around the street, and this is an inner alley around that area.
No, the street is pretty, you know?
But not with people's faces in it.
You want me to take this?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. There, we're together. In Old Montreal. But there's people too. They're in sunglasses, so it's okay. Take a video. Lara, can I see?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Aww. Beaver tail. Yeah. Yeah, so after finishing our snacks, we walked to the old port where the ferries wheel is. Yeah, it's another famous tourism site. And it's almost sunset time and the sky is changing colors. We're sitting down on the bench and get ready to see the colors of sunset. And while waiting, I'm just gonna do a sketch on the right side of the page. So I drew a rectangular frame, so it's just easier to wrap everything inside. There was like a little girl about 6 or 7 years old passing by, pointing at the Ferris wheel, and that's a perfect foreground element. So I just started to draw the shape of her hair with a ponytail, her upper body, and her left arm bending and pointing at the Ferris wheel, and her pants. The color of her pants was black. I think she was wearing black pants, and that's it. And she actually stood there for about half a minute for me to finish capturing her gesture. I was really thankful for her to appear at a very good timing. Yeah, and now I'm starting to draw these railings in the far distance around her waist area. So there's always comparison of where all the structure are situated. You have to compare it with a foreground element. And I just drew the circular shape. It's not a perfect circle. It's very hard to draw a large circle nice and perfect. And yeah, after that, I'm drawing this tree on the left of the Ferris wheel, and this part takes a lot of patience. All of these cars attached to the ring of the Ferris wheel. So all of these cars are in the three-dimensional shape of cubes. Yeah, for these ones, we can see three sides of these cubes, the bottom side, the front side, and the right side. Yeah, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. Yeah, so we can see 2 or 3 sides of these cars according to where they are positioned. Yeah, around this circle, they're at different angles, so we can see the different sides, usually 2. For the top one, we can see 3. Yeah. So after drawing those cars, I'm starting to draw this middle structure. I think this is the tower part where they control the spinning speed of the Ferris wheel and this large and strong arm supporting the Ferris wheel. Yes, stretching all the way to the lower left, and there's another strong arm to the lower right, and there's another tree there. Now I'm starting to add these thinner railings in between. These are very much just like the radius of the circular form. Yeah, and another one. Again, these takes a lot of patience as well. And some more. Yeah, some of these bars are pretty thin. Yeah, so after drawing these radius railings, I'm starting to add these inner details, those brackets. Yeah, and then there's actually another ring of circular railings inside the largest one. Yeah, so here, kind of skip around just so it's nice and loose, just to show the movement of the wheel. And add some little branches and twigs for the tree on the left. And now I'm starting to draw the cityscape in the far distance behind the Ferris wheel, keeping all the lines really loose. Things in the distance, they don't have to be like in solid outlines and crisp details. So yeah, there's a building in prism shape. You can see two sides of it. And these windows are very much just dots because they're so far away. Can't see shapes, just dots. And adding another ring inside. Yeah, this Ferris wheel is huge, and it must be very sturdy with these railings. Yeah, and the buildings in between those railings of the Ferris wheel. Just keep it really abstract and loose. At the bottom, just the bottom part of the Ferris wheel, a bunch of abstract shapes, slopes, trapezoids. Yeah, just simplifying. Don't think too much about what you're drawing. Just try to see in shapes. And some final details for those buildings in the far distance in between. And now I see a bird flying over, and it's really cool. It adds a sense of atmosphere. And just using loose horizontal lines to show the ripples on the water. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the line work. Now I'm ready to paint watercolors. As always, I paint the sky first, just wetting the sky area quickly with clear water by squeezing my water brush. Okay, now I'm ready for the wet into wet technique. So the first color I'm putting on is a blend of lemon yellow and medium yellow, and a tiny bit of orange here. The color is like very subtle. It's like a combination of so many tones of yellows and oranges and a little bit of red closer to the top of these buildings. It's a very soft transition of colors. I'm actually accentuating this color even more than I see because yeah, I just want to make the scenery look more lively, so we could always actually make the colors that we see more saturated than it seems to show our sensations even deeper. And the top of the sky is a very light cerulean blue, and the very top I'm blending on a little bit of ultramarine blue or cobalt blue. Yeah, so it's a very nice sense of flow for the sky here. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I'm just gonna leave the sky like that. It shouldn't be way too strong and compete with the Ferris wheel and the foreground elements. So now I just wetted the water area with a bit of clear water, and also the water area is getting on a little bit of the leftover yellow because water is always reflecting the colors above and around it. And punching on this mix of lime green and lemon yellow for this tree here, and also some the foliages in between, nice and loose. They don't have to be inside the outlines or anything. And putting on a bit of orange red for the top of these trees that are changing color. Yeah, nice and loose. It's very choppy, dotty brushstrokes. And using the mix of ultramarine blue and royal purple to paint the gray areas, the concrete colors of the buildings near and far. Yeah, a lot of concrete colors for modern cityscapes. Yeah, again, for those buildings in the far distance, just keep it really simple. They're almost like silhouettes. And some more warm and loose colors here and there. Yeah, like a deeper tone of gray, ultramarine blue mixed with royal purple for one side of that building. The other side is exposed to sunshine. Yeah, and some leftover browns, orange browns for some of those heritage buildings. Now the second layer, viridian green, very much like a viridian green tone for the bottom of those foliages. And this tree, very loose and dotting brushstrokes. So when painting a complicated scenery like this, it's really important to keep your color scheme very simple. If you use too many colors, there's less of a unity. So yeah, as you can see, I'm using pretty much the same gray, but containing more or less water here and there. Okay, yeah, the same gray mixed with ultramarine blue and royal purple. It's like a purplish gray. Yeah, controlling the tone of this gray by mixing more or less water. And same for these railings, just painting very loosely and leaving some streaks of the metallic bars to shine. Okay, so and I'm also painting, filling in these shapes very quickly to make them look very flexible. It looks like they're moving. I don't want to fill inside these lines with very solid colors. Otherwise, the wheel is gonna look too static. So yeah, just put these colors on very quickly and loosely. It seems like it's moving slowly. Also, coloring in a bit outside the line, it helps with the slight movement of the wheel. Yeah, and just keep the color scheme very simple and don't overthink. There's actually another bar behind these cars. There are like so many layers of railings. Yeah, and it's grabbing a little bit of red to paint the vest of the girl and leaving tiny little gaps in between to show the shine. And leftover gray for her sweater underneath the jacket, the vest. Painting her hair with leftover orange brown. A little shade for her vest using leftover purple. And grabbing some leftover gray and use very thin brush strokes to paint the little ripples on the surface of water. It's very much like a turquoise color that I just grabbed from my palette. Yeah, just use the very tip of my brush to paint these ripples. And some darker tones of the ripples, leaving some shiny streaks in between to show the shine of water. Yeah, a little bit more intense green for the lawn, for the grass area. Yeah, and I see I need a little bit more contrast for those two little trees on both sides of this Ferris wheel. So viridian green mixing with a little bit of burnt sienna for the bottom of that tree. A slight bit more contrast for the bottom of these cars. Yeah, and now I think I need to be a little bit more brave to add these clouds floating in the sky. It's a little bit smoky. It's a smoky color. So I just use leftover cerulean blue mixing with a little leftover red. So there's like a blue purple, the color in between blue and purple. Yeah, put it very lightly. I'm adding this when the previous layer is almost dried. So I have these pretty clear but not too solid shapes of clouds. Yeah, that's it. It's very hard to sketch this Ferris wheel. But at least like I got the atmosphere behind. I think Ferris wheel, they always need a nice atmosphere behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we came for this.
Yeah, we're now walking back to the metro station. Thank you so much for watching this vlog video, everyone. Yeah, so if you like this video, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates, and I'll see you again very soon next time. Have a great weekend, everyone.